For Crema Media's Polity, I'm Sane Dhlamini. Researcher and analyst Professor Raymond Suttner joins me for Suttner's View, a weekly commentary on South Africa's political scene. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you.
Many South Africans are happy with the reappointment of Finance Minister Dhlamini during last night's Cyril Ramaphosa's cabinet reshuffle. Do you think that this move will maybe boost economy in our country?
Well, I wouldn't want to dwell on one individual. I think it's important to try and regularize the functioning of the finance ministry. So I do think that Nene's reappointment is a good thing.
And UDM's Ngabayo Muzunkwakwa said this reshuffle was not in line, in fact, with the recent powerful State of the Nation address. Would you agree with that statement?
Well, you know, a State of the Nation address is a generalized statement. What you're dealing with here is the appointment of individuals. What I think we are seeing is that Cyril Ramaphosa was elected to the presidency of the ANC as a result of the deal that was made between the supporters of Mabuza, supporters of Nkosazana Dhlamini Zuma, and his own supporters. And when you negotiate deals, every side expects some sort of payback. And one of the results of that payback is that the appointments to this cabinet are not in line with some of the objectives that Ramaphosa has set himself to move away from the pillage and the irregularities of the Zuma era. For example, the appointment of Parabile Dhlamini, appointment of Gigaba, a number of other, Nomvula Mokonyane, a number of these appointments are people whose place there cannot be justified. Parabile Dhlamini has brought the country to a precipice over welfare grants. How it is that she should be rewarded with another cabinet post is hard to explain. So what I think, the way I would answer that question is that when you negotiate, the objective is not just to get an agreement. The question is, what is the agreement? And it appears that this agreement may be bringing results that are to the detriment of the country. For example, Mabuza as deputy president fills a lot of people's minds with a sense of danger, that you have someone there who they fear may be responsible for a lot of wrongdoing in Mpumalanga. He's not been charged, but there's a lot of scandals surrounding him.
If we go to the SOEs now, we know President Gordhan is appointed as the Minister of Enterprises. Do you think there is hope now for organizations like the SAA maybe to be back on track?
You know, I don't really like personalizing everything. You know, President Gordhan is going to have to go there, make an assessment of all the SOEs, and because President Gordhan is a man of integrity, he will not. He will try to monitor that people who are put on those boards, who are CEOs, who are chairs, are people who will change the mode of functioning of these boards. It's not just President Gordhan. It's really whether he's able, given that some people in these organizations are going to remain there, is he able to bring them into line and ensure that they perform in terms of their mandates? SOEs are very important in the sense that they were originally conceived as one of the drivers of development in order to better the life of the poor and to develop the country as a whole. Instead, they become cash cows. And I think his becoming there may be very important in terms of changing it.
And we know that some of the ministers who are removed from the cabinet have been tainted with corruption, like Lynn Brown. Tell me, Raymond, do you think these ministers should be let off the hook, or should there be charges?
I can't assess that. It depends, you know, it depends on what they've done, and that's a legal matter. Zwane may well face charges over the Estina dairy project, maybe over Tegeta. I'm not in a position to say that the prosecution must act against such a person.
And lastly, we know that the opposition parties were not happy. Last night we saw EFF Ndlozi saying that they were not happy, especially about Gigaba as well as Batabile Dhlamini being like reinstated into other positions in the cabinet. Do you think maybe that this will also like give the DA more ammunition to be a better opposition, because we know they've been battling to get back at the ANC because of the appointment of their new president, Cyril Ramaphosa?
Well, a week ago, the DA was facing difficulties because, and the EFF, insofar as a lot of their activities were directed at Zuma. And Ramaphosa has come across as a person who is keen to clean up the country and all that sort of thing. And a lot of things have happened since he's been there with ESCOM, and we've mentioned the law enforcement agencies, and Parliament has also felt inspired to take on a number of inquiries. Some of these they did start last year. So it put the DA and the EFF on the back foot in terms of the mileage that they gained from having a person like Zuma as president. However, when you put in your new cabinet people like Batabile Dhlamini, Gigaba, Nomvula Mokonyane, and you have a number of people who may not be well suited to the task. I mean, to move Susan Shabangu to social welfare, I knew her in the 80s when she was in the UDF, was a very competent person, but she has not fared very well in the women's ministry. And to give her the poison chalice of social welfare, you really need someone, maybe she will recover the capacities that have been wasted in the women's ministry. Not that it's not an important ministry, but that she has not performed very well in it, I think. So I just think that the type of appointments that he's made, a number of people I've never heard of who are made ministers, and I'm a person who follows politics. Now, it may mean that they're very good people, but from faraway places, so for that reason I don't know them. But one gets the sense that there was deal-making, and the deal-making, in my view, undermines some of the credibility of Cyril Ramaphosa, and it also gives the opposition, in a negative sense, a greater opportunity to attack the ANC with a view to the elections in 2019. You know, the DA is reported in one of the Sunday newspapers to have had some division over how they approach the 2019 elections. Do they adopt Tony Leon's approach that Ramaphosa is a game changer? And the that tendency to be more constructive was suggested as a strategy. But now, with these changes, there's going to be a rethink, perhaps. And the DA, you know, but nevertheless, it's not really a very good strategy for an opposition to spend its time on individuals. It should try to put its own alternative to the public at large. So even focusing on Zuma or focusing on these other people would not, in my view, be an ideal role for an opposition to play in the long run.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
That was Professor Raymond Suttner speaking to Creamer Media's Polity about the recent cabinet reshuffle by South African President Cyril Ramaphosa.